live in both places. Look at that. Okay. So, did I pull that up and then it sunk again? Or is it me? Looks all right. Okay. Try with this one too. Sorry if I'm making you guys seasick. Trying to. Oh, yeah, that's really out of focus and weird. Let me try that. Ooh, sun is pretty crazy intense, isn't it? All right. Well, I'm not getting off my head. I think it's back in focus anyway. All right. Okay. And it is. It is falling back down, isn't it? All right. Well, it is what it is. It's 9:30 is what it is. All right. So, well, this is 9:28, but it's 9:30, right? Yes, yes. Hello over there on YouTube. All right. So, today, I don't know, just have like I guess maybe it's a long weekend and the weather is broken a little bit. It's not as god awful hot here as it has been. So I'm feeling kind of energetic and I want to go do fun stuff. So we're going to open up the front of the body today. Provide a little bit of energy, burn off a little excess energy if you have that, right? And just kind of wake up, and yeah, share that with people. Right? So wake up and make yourself um, ready for the day. But remember, right, if something's too big or you're not ready for it or you're just not feeling it, sometimes those are I have those days all the time. So you can modify things, right? You don't have to make everything big and gigantic. As long as you're engaging the muscles or stretching the muscles that we're wanting to stretch, then leave it be, right? It's enough. It can be enough. So striving for the next piece isn't always the goal. Right? Sometimes it's just to be on your mat and move your body. Sometimes it's just to be on your mat and connect. Right? So listen to what your body needs and adjust as you need to adjust it. So we're going to bring our feet up underneath the hip bones, standing obviously. You can tell. Right? So grounding down into the four corners of the feet. Try not to grip your toes. It doesn't help you stand. Right? So engaging those muscles, a little tuck of the tailbone so the lower back stays nice and long. And then lifting the pelvic floor, we're going to pull that lower belly in and up and stand as tall as we can. Relaxing to the shoulders, having the arms hang down by the sides of your body rather than the front. Right? Go ahead and close your eyes and feel the ears over your shoulders. And just be present here for a moment. It's really weird. Dark. Observing your natural breath. And breathing all through the nose, you want to expand the breath. So let the inhales get a little bigger. Exhaling a little bit more complete. And find a breath that is just a little bit of work for you. So if you find that you're still exhaling when I'm cueing to inhale, finish, right? Make sure it's your breath you're connected with, not mine. So we want to maintain everything we have set here. And we're going to add in movement. So with that next inhale, stretch the arms up to the ceiling. And then exhale, bring them back down again. Do it again. Inhaling up. Exhaling down. We're going to go one more time. Back up to the top. When you get there, interlace your fingers. We're going to exhale, tip over to the left. Inhale and come on back to center. Exhale, tip over to the right. And then follow your breath side to side like that. Keeping the shoulders relaxed, the feet even, the belly engaged. See if you can't get into that side stretch a little bit deeper. See what happens. Let's go once more on each side. And when you're back to the top, just go ahead and exhale, releasing the arms to the sides. Taking the hands to the thighs here, belly in. We're going to come over into a half fold. So parallel-ish to the floor. That might be a full fold for you, right? So find your middle. Find just a nice little easy stretch. Hang out here for a minute, making sure the belly's in. Again, you can support with your hands on your thighs. We want to keep the shoulders back. And then you're going to use your breath here. On the inhale, imagine lengthening out the crown of your head. So it might bring you out of the fold a little bit. That's normal. Exhale, see if you can hinge in a little bit deeper. So the shoulders stay back. We're going to inhale into that kind of halfway place again. And then exhale deeper yet. Right? So each exhalation brings you a little bit deeper into the stretch until you find where the bottom is. Right? Whatever that looks like, or the top, or however your brain sees that, your maximum stretch. Don't worry about where your hands are. They can absolutely stay up on your thighs. They can start moving toward the floor, but remember the shoulders stay back. Okay? So if your shoulders start sagging just to touch the floor, forget about that. Take just a couple more breaths like that. And we're just going to hold that deeper stretch for a moment. From there, make your way into an all fours position. So coming down to hands and knees. Bring the wrists under the shoulders, the knees under the hips. Make sure that belly's still working for you. Feeling nice and even on the four corners of the hands here. Never pressing in and being too hard on the wrists. So with the breath here, on an inhale, we're going to drop the belly to the floor. Stick your butt out, lift your face. And then exhale and reverse that. Think forehead to belly button. And then just float between those two. We're looking for a nice even stretch throughout the spine. Taking a couple more flows. Finding that neutral spine again when you're through. And then go ahead and sit your hips back towards your heels and make your way to a child's pose. So just take a moment here. Let yourself kind of sink in. Maybe you want your knees a little wider. Maybe like your hands back by your heels for a minute. You can Stack your hands if that's easier as well. I'm going to turn here for a second. So if you do have your hands back by your heels, go ahead and stretch the arms out long in front, far away from you as you can reach. And we want to keep the hands roughly shoulder width apart. From there, pull your shoulder blades together on your back and come up onto the finger pads of your hands, right, or your fingers, right? See if you can then inch your fingertips a little bit further away than you could before. Imagine sitting your hips back and stretching your fingertips forward. Feel that all the way up your sides, down your arms. We're going to keep the rest of the body where it is and the hands shoulder width-ish apart. Take those hands and start to walk them over to the right. And if you have the flexibility for it, that left arm might come behind your head or above your head, depending. Come on back to the middle and do that same thing to the second side. Coming back to center. Keep the idea of reaching away like we have here, and then ground the four corners of your hands again, pressing down into the floor, and feel that little extra added stretch. From there, make your way to down dog. And we want to keep that feeling of space in the shoulders there. So now you kind of have to press away from the floor, right? Instead of pull or reach away. Sinking into your heels, pressing the chest back to the thighs, let your head hang. And then from there, go ahead and lift your right leg. Keep the hips square, extend through the heels, and then open that right hip. Work to keep your shoulders level. Keep pushing away from the floor. You can bend the right knee. If it's fun, look over your left shoulder, see if you can see your foot over there. Trying not to just drop that left shoulder. Keep it pretty level. And then release that side. Do the same thing on the second side. So lift the left. Press through your heels for a second here. Feel it in your hips and your hamstrings. Let's lift the left leg. Work to keep those shoulders level. Bend the knee if you like. Look over your right shoulder maybe. And then straight legs, square hips. Release the toes. And we'll walk the feet up to the hands. Back to our standing fold again. So feet hip bone distance apart. You can have a little bend in the knees here if you like. We're going to take those fingers and interlace them behind the lower back. Pull the shoulder blades together on the spine. And stretch the knuckles away, lifting the hands up off the lower back, if you like there. But keep the shoulders together and away from the ears. One more nice big breath. Releasing the hands. Let's go ahead and slide the hands up to the thighs. Lift halfway up like we came down. So you're middle-ish. Shoulders are back. Bend into the knees, find chair. So nice and even on your feet. The hands can stay on the thighs. They can extend. Prayer, interlace behind the back, whatever floats your boat right now. One more breath. On the inhale, stretch to the ceiling, and then release the arms. So we're going to work our sun salutes a little bit different today. There will still be planks, right? So you're not completely off the hook, but we're going to weave some things in. Right? It's a little different variation. On an inhale, let's stretch the arms up. Exhale, step up, take yourself over into a fold. Inhale, come halfway up, shoulders are back, lean on the legs if you need. Exhale the right foot back for a lunge. So you can roll around into your hips a little bit, just wake them up. You can absolutely drop your right knee to the floor here if you like. Sweep the legs toward each other, lengthen through your spine, and bring the left hand to your hip, adding a little twist into your lunge here. So the belly's rotating around, side ribs, shoulder, maybe look up. Keeping the hips square. We're going to take another big breath here. And then release the twist and step back to down dog. With an inhale, slide yourself forward into plank. Let's drop down to the belly and hold for a second here. So release your toes, take your hands next to your side ribs, and then just a nice little shoulder roll to begin. With an inhale, pull your shoulders up by the ears, together on your back, down towards your hip bones. Exhale, release it. We're going to take just a couple more rolls like that. The next one, hold. So no hands can still make it happen, right? But see, if you pull with your hands, like you're going to pull your belly button to the top of your mat, the triceps should kick in, the legs should maybe give you a little extra lift. Keep the elbows into the sides. You can add a little bit of pull. Make sure you're pulling, push. Make sure you're pulling those so your lower back stays long. And then release. Everything up off the floor together. We're moving back to our down dog. And then from there, we're going to step the right foot forward. Coming to lunge on the second side here. Again, maybe kind of wiggle around into your hips a little bit. Finding your center. Pull the legs toward each other. Lengthen out the crown of your head and add your twist. We're going to release the twist. Step forward into fold. Inhale, come halfway up. And then fold back over. Come all the way up, reach arms to the ceiling. And exhale, release. Okay. So again, inhale, stretch up. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, come halfway up. Exhale the left foot back this time. Again, finding that stable position, right? So wiggle a little bit if you need. Drop the back knee if you'd like, because we're climbing up on the right thigh here. So if the knee is not on the floor, make the left leg straight, pressing through the heel. And then the hands can stay supporting if you need. Otherwise, let's take those fingers and interlace them behind the lower back again. Pull the shoulders toward each other, stretch the knuckles back for that left heel. One more big breath. And then we'll release it, making our way back to down dog. Inhale, step or slide forward into plank. And then down to the belly. And again, pausing here. So the toenails are on the floor, the hands are next to the side ribs, and the elbows stay in. Right? Where you go from there is entirely up to you. So maybe just that little shoulder roll, maybe the little lifting without using the arms. Maybe we pull, maybe we press, keeping the elbows in, the spine long, and maybe the arms almost straight. Don't lock out your elbows. That brings the shoulders forward a lot of times, so keep them soft. Releasing that. Up and back, down dog. And then the left foot steps forward. So finding your spot, wiggling around, adjusting, dropping the back knee, all of that fancy stuff. Climb up. Interlace the fingers with your other thumb on top. Shoulders pull toward each other, knuckles stretch away. And then release. Stepping forward into your fold. Halfway up on the inhale. Fold over. And then all the way up. And release. So we're going to do one more. We're going to work on those back bends a little bit more in there. So with the inhale, stretch up. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, halfway up. Exhale the right foot back into the lunge again. So get stable. Climb up. Sinking into the hips, pressing through the back heel, keeping the chest open and lifted. The hands can do what they did before, or maybe reach toward the ceiling. Drop the shoulders away from your ears. Bring your pinkies to touch each other up there. And you can bring the whole palm together, but the idea is to get that rotation in the arm. Maybe lift the chest toward the ceiling and add a bigger back bend. Keep the chin tucked toward the throat. Take one more nice big breath. And then gently release, making your way back into lunge and down dog. With the inhale, slide forward. And on the exhale, drop down. So toenails touch the floor, hands are next to the sides. Keeping the shoulders back, whether you just roll, little lift with the arms, maybe a bigger lift. Arms almost straight. Can you lift your thighs up off the floor? And then gently release. Back to down dog. The right foot will step forward. Bring your toes all the way up there. Getting stable when you're ready, climbing up. And then decide what you want to do with your arms. You can also maybe take a cactus. Same idea. Opening the chest here, lifting the chest toward the ceiling. The arms go wherever you need them to go. Let's release it. Step forward into fold. Halfway up. And back over. Reaching to the ceiling. And then releasing. All right, so we're going to get a little treat here. We're going to try and get the chest opener at the same time. So listen to your body. If you need to be by the wall, absolutely move to the wall. We're going to take all the weight over into the left foot, lifting the right knee. Go ahead and open it. Bring that right foot in, whether your toes touch the floor or your heel is up in your inner thigh. Okay. Hug the legs toward each other. Avoid being on your kneecap, on your knee. A little tuck of the tailbone. We stand nice and tall here. And again, your hands can be where your hands need to be, but maybe let's interlace the fingers. Shoulders pull toward each other, knuckles stretch away, chest lifts to the ceiling. And you can change your gaze or not. Sometimes everything is all good until you try to look up. Keeping the chest open and lifted. And staying on one foot is the goal. Let's take another breath. Gently make your way back to neutral. And we'll go to the second side. So all the way to the right. Lift the left, open at the knee, and then bring it in. Again, decide where that is. Stand nice and tall. Work to keep the tailbone tucked, and then you add the upper body, whether it's just your arms. Maybe let's take cactus arms here. Right? Open and lift the chest. And just kind of play. If that's too much, maybe just bring the hands back to center. If you want to interlace your fingers, give that a go. If you like the openness and you want to extend the arms alongside the ears, maybe that's where you're at. One more breath on this side. Gently make your way back to neutral. And we'll take our standing poses. So remember to take your time in and out. Sometimes we get really excited about, oh, I got there, and oh, it's time to move on, and that's where the trouble starts. So let's take a nice big step back with the left foot. We're going to work in a triangle. So right toes pointing forward, left toes are cut in a little bit. The body is open to the long side of the mat, not turning toward the front of your mat. Extend the arms. Stretch forward over your right toes as far as you can reach. And then take the right hand down and lift the left arm up. You can lean on this leg if you need, maybe have a block. Keeping the body open to the side rather than the floor. So from here, take the left into your hip. Look down at your right foot and bend into the right knee, bringing the right hand forward of your foot. You might have to adjust it, don't worry about that. Pop your back toes in until you can lift them away from the floor, making your way toward half moon. So stacking your hips, stacking your shoulders-ish. You can absolutely take that left arm up toward the ceiling, maybe look up toward the ceiling. Keep the body open. One more breath. Bends back into the knee. Take the left foot to the floor, back to your triangle. And then hinge up. Release your arms. And we're going to switch our feet. So pull the right toes in a little bit, the left toes toward the back of your mat. Extend the arms, reach forward, and hinge over. Leaning if you need. And then transitioning here, bring the right hand to the hip. Go ahead and look down, left hand forward of toes. Hop in, lift the right foot. Working to keep the body open to the side rather than the floor. You can add the fancy stuff if you want to add the fancy stuff. And then bend back into the knee, make your way back through your triangle. All the way up. Release your arms. So let's switch our feet again. Bring the left toes in a little bit and the right toes toward the top of the mat. This time we're going to bend the right knee. So finding the big toe beyond the knee, so the knee and ankle are stacked. We'll take warrior two here, so the arms are simply parallel to the floor. Relax your shoulders away from your ears. Nice and even in the feet. Take the left hand to the back of the thigh. Right palm turns toward the ceiling. We're going to reach up and then drop that right shoulder down. Remember when we pulled, when we interlaced our fingers and pulled the shoulders together on the back? Keep that idea. And then how about lifting the chest toward the ceiling again? Bring the head alongside the arm, or the arm alongside the head, maybe. And then back to our warrior two. Release the arms, straddle out your feet, and we'll make our way to the second side. So the right toes in a little bit, left toes toward the back. Bend into the knee when you're ready. Adjust your feet. Our sides are not the same always. Watch for the big toe. Knee stays over the ankle. Reaching the arms. Relaxing the shoulders. Take the right hand to the back of the thigh, left palm toward the ceiling, reach up, and then drop that shoulder back down. Pull the shoulders together on the back. Let the chest open and lift. Let's go back to warrior two. Take the left leg straight, release the arms and come to the straddle. So here we're actually going to use the straddle. Toes point forward and make sure you don't feel too wide or too narrow. Hands on the hips, belly supporting. You can always lean on the legs if you need. We're going to come forward, that half fold again. Keep the hands on the hips. Allow your upper body to sink wherever the full fold is. Again, here we're going to take the fingers and interlace them behind the lower back. Shoulders pulled together, knuckles stretch away. Releasing the fingertips. Bring the hands back to the hips. Halfway up again. Hold in the middle here. And then all the way up. So, one more time. Bring the left toes in a little bit. Right toes toward the top of the mat. Bending back into the knee. So once you have your feet set, look for your big toe like we always do. We're going to take those fingers and interlace them behind the lower back again here. Shoulders pulled together, knuckles stretch away. Rotate your belly toward the right leg. Watch that the knee doesn't sink in, right? Keep the knee over the ankle. And then from here, think bringing your belly button to the thigh. And yes, this left hip can come around a little bit. Maybe your belly doesn't touch your thigh, that's okay. See about bringing the right shoulder to the inside of the right knee. You can sink a little deeper. Think bringing your forehead to your right ankle. And again, this is just a direction. It doesn't mean these things happen. We got one more nice big breath. With the next inhale, we bring ourselves back up. Release the fingers, straighten out your legs, straddle your feet, maybe roll. One more. Right toes in, left toes toward the back, bend into the knee, look for your big toe. Yeah, we're not the same, so take your time. Arms are going to interlace behind the lower back. Shoulders pulled together, knuckles stretch away. Belly rotates toward the thigh, and we fold over the leg. Go where your body allows you to go. So if you're happy with just rotating your upper body, great. If you've actually touched the thigh, lovely. If you want to move more to the inside of the leg, give that a go. the next inhale, we'll come back up again. Release it all and step back to the top of that. So wiggle around, roll your shoulders, bend your knees, shake your hips, whatever feels good. Let's reach up and exhale forward. Let yourself hang here for a second. And then step back to down dog. Dropping down to the knees, go ahead and take child's pose. From child's pose, slide forward underneath up onto your belly. So here on the belly, we're going to make sure that the tailbone stays pointing down toward the heels, keeping the lower back nice and long. From there, bend your knees and reach back and find your feet. So they might be very easily there. It might be a struggle just to find one. Take your time and work with one if that's where you're at. So the pelvis stays pressing down into the floor. Hang on to your ankles and flex your feet. Sometimes that gives a little bit more to hang on to, if you can. All right. Keeping the tailbone tucked, the shoulders pulled together, the chest lifts. You can add on to that by kicking your feet away from your heels. You can lift your thighs up off the floor if you like, and expect to rock a little bit. If you are breathing into your belly, you may move a little bit. Gently release. Resting your head on a pillow, turning your cheek to one side there, turning the toes toward each other, just a gentle little rock back and forth on your hips. Shake out your back. And then we're going to roll ourselves over onto our backs. So wiggle yourself back to your mat. Find a nice neutral spine here. You can have the legs extended or the feet flat to the floor. And just give your backside a chance to sort of melt into the mat. Just relax for a second. We still have work to do. So let's just take a little minute. All right. So if your feet are not already flat, go ahead and bring your feet flat to the floor. We're going to bring them pretty close to the hips, but not touching. That's a little too close. We want the feet to be hip bone distance apart. So sometimes it's hard to see, but you can tell if your toes are touching, that's obviously too close. And if your heels are at the sides of your hips, that's too wide, right? So find your middle. Bring the arms down the sides of the body, nice and tight as you can. And some people like to bend their elbows so that they can get the elbows in a little deeper. It's a preference thing. See if it works for you. Keep the head looking straight up toward the ceiling and watch that the back of your neck does not touch the floor. All right. Once you have all that, press down into your triceps, pull your heels towards your hips, and lift your hips away from the floor. Doesn't have to be fancier than that. Right? Tuck the tailbone toward the knees, keep your lower back long. Imagine pressing down into the arms and lift your chest. If it makes sense, interlace your fingers here. And if you tuck them up under like we've been doing, pulling them toward each other on your back, that idea, it'll give you a little lift through the chest as well. So you can do all kinds of fancy stuff here. You can lift a leg, one at a time, of course, right? or the other. You can support your hips with your arms. You could take a supported bridge. We're going to take just a couple more breaths, so play if you like. And then gently release what you got. Hold flat on the floor. Bring the knees into the chest. Just a nice, easy little rock here. Take your time. So from here, we're going to take the feet flat again and extend the right leg up toward the ceiling. So this leg is straight. Ideally, the heel is over the hip rather than down toward the bottom of your mat. So if you need a strap, certainly feel free to use that. Shoulders stay down and back. We're going to exhale, pull the right leg in a little bit. Inhale, let it go a little bit. So in and out like that. So one more time, pulling that leg in and then releasing it into a kind of neutral place again here. Keeping this leg extended, support the outside of the leg, and reach the left arm out to the left. So try to keep your back flat on the floor as we open this right leg out to the right. Left hip is going to get a little bit light. Keep it on the floor. Keep that left shoulder down. Maybe flex your right foot, rotate the toes toward the floor. Find a nice little stretch here. But really, again, focusing on the back side. Take another breath. And then bring that leg back to center. So here, go ahead and bend at the knee. And think bringing your right knee down toward your right shoulder. So you can absolutely hang on to the back of your thigh and pull the leg in. Work to keep the shin vertical though. Or you can reach up with your hands and draw down on the foot. So play with that a little bit. The leg may move toward the outside of your body, and that's fine. Try not to have it winging way out to the right. Have it closer to the body than not. And that same little idea of in and out, so you can let it go a little bit, then you can pull it down a little bit more. Just kind of see where the stretch is. And again, here we're still trying to keep the back side on the floor, especially that left shoulder. It likes to lift up pretty good here. And it still might, but we just want to try and keep it down. So keeping the right leg where it is, maybe extend your left leg down toward the bottom of your mat as if you were standing on that leg. So flex your foot, point the toes at the ceiling. If you're not sure, take a peek. You can look. And then picture yourself actually standing up like this. Take another breath. Gently release what you got. Both feet flat to the floor again. And we will switch sides. So go ahead and extend the left leg straight up toward the ceiling. Again, use the strap if that's you. We're going to start here by just that little pulling in on the exhale, releasing on the inhale thing. So the back side stays flat, especially the hips. They like to roll up a little bit here. Sometimes it's the shoulders that lift away from the floor. So just do what you can. Staying as flat to the floor as you can. Another breath like that in, and then finding that neutral place. The leg stays straight, the right arm extends to the right, support the outside of the leg as you drop the leg to the left. Again, work to keep the right hip on the floor. Support the leg with the arm over here, rather than just letting it fall, or it falls into the wall. And then we're going to bring the leg back up to the top, bend at the knee, and pulling down either on the back of the thigh or on the foot itself here. A little bit in and out. Working that knee either closer to your shoulder or down in toward your armpit. Ish. And then pulling this leg down, wherever it's going to go, let's extend the right leg down toward the bottom of the mat. And again, you don't have to do that. It's just something extra if you want to add it. If you add it and you hate it, right? Or I shouldn't say that. If you add it and your body says no, then bring the foot flat to the floor again. Let's gently release, taking both feet flat to the floor. Maybe kind of windshield wiper your knees. Bring the soles of the feet together, let the knees fall out to the sides. And then bring the knees together and into the chest. Little rock here. And then taking this final twist, you can keep the knees in. You can take the feet flat to the floor, adjusting your hips, all that fancy stuff, or not, right? Let the legs fall to the right to begin. If you want to work or relax deeper into it, feel free, legs straight or bent. We're going to take just a couple more breaths over on this side. And then make your way back to center. Reset if you need to adjust your hips or anything like that. Whatever version you did on the first side, start there on the second side. When you're ready, legs over to the left. Just a couple more breaths over here. And we'll make our way back up to the top again. Adjusting if you need. When you're ready, pull the knees back into the chest, give yourself a rock. And then squeeze those knees in nice and tight, pulling your forehead toward the knees. Releasing it out into a full body stretch. And then releasing your stretch. Making your way towards Shavasana, whatever that's going to look like today, whether you're flat on the floor, the knees are bent, the soles of the feet are together. You can take a seated meditation, use props. Take a moment to figure out where your body needs to be. And check in that you feel aligned. You want to feel nice and even. And when you find that place, let the muscles release. Notice if you're holding tension somewhere still. See if you can maybe breathe into it and let it go. Inviting that same stillness and release into your mind. There's no more work. Just get to spend a few minutes resting. Slowly draw in a deep, cleansing breath. And then let it go. Restoring small movements to the body first. Gradually move and stretch. And when you're ready, take the feet to the floor. And roll yourself to the side. And slowly press up to seated again. Sitting well. Bringing the palms to touch. Bowing to the light within. Namaste. So I hope you enjoyed that. I hope you feel very open and tall and perfect posture. So have a great weekend. I've got the 5-day, 15-minute challenge coming up. That'll start not this Monday, but the following Monday. I'm still working on that beginner series, so kind of keep that in the back of your brain. And if there's other fun stuff, I'll let you know. All right. So have a great weekend. Hopefully you have a long weekend. Enjoy. Bye.